Hello, hello, welcome and good evening, everyone. It is so wonderful to have you all here. We have a very exciting evening ahead of us. It's wonderful to see so many friends and familiar names and handles in the stream already. My name is Catherine E. Schneider, and I am the editor-in-chief and publisher of the Northeast Coast Press. This summer, we are so excited to be announcing and introducing to you our first full season of poetry collections for winter 2027. And tonight, we are especially excited to introduce to you our second poet from the winter 2027 lineup, the amazing Elizabeth Shanaz. And her incredible forthcoming poetry collection, Anatomy of a Poet. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you. I've been looking forward to this all week, so yeah.
Oh my God, same here. I've been counting down the weeks since your announcement, really since I, accepted your manuscript for people to get to hear some of these poems and then to get to read your incredible book, Elizabeth. It is really so powerful and so dynamic. How are you this evening?
I'm doing really well today compared to other days. So a lot of that is in part of, looking forward to this. So.
Well, Mercury retrograde is going crazy right now. So if anybody else have been feeling a little rough, we're going to blame Mercury.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, Elizabeth. I'm so excited to get to hear your poems. And once again, huge congratulations on this incredible book.
Thank you so much. And thank you for giving me a platform and a shot.
You deserve it. You're a total superstar. And you know what? Let me introduce you with your bio so that people can get to learn a little bit more about your incredible accomplishments. Elizabeth Shanaz is a New York-based lawyer and writer with work published across the spectrum of print and digital media. Born in Brooklyn and raised in Queens, her writing focuses on themes related to Caribbean diasporic memory in the New York City context, in addition to motifs of Muslim womanhood and millennial consciousness. She studied literature at CUNY City College and later earned her law degree from NYU School of Law. Her writing has been published in millions of literary journals.
Yeah, we cut that part of the bio down. Yeah.
So many. It's honestly incredible. Incredible. To name a few: Huffington Post, Defunct Magazine, Blue Minaret Literary Journal, Brown Sugar Literary Magazine. Oh, wow. Brawl Literary Magazine, the Rumen Last Stanza Poetry Journal, Rabble Review, Milkweed Poetry, Amethyst Review, Essex Salon. Her poetry has also appeared in the anthology Tender Hearts Club, which was edited by Ingrid Kier. Shanaz has a body of visual poetry that travels in a solo international art show with recent exhibitions in New York and Mumbai. And people can see a little bit of that in your announcement video. Oh, So beautiful, so exciting. And of course, if people are following you on Instagram, as hopefully they are, they can
Yes.
see those incredible works. Um, she was nominated 3 times for the 2026 Best of the Net anthology in the category of poetry. She currently holds a literary and performing arts residency at the Barzak Cafe in Brooklyn, New York. What an incredible bunch of accomplishments, Elizabeth.
Thank
Just
you.
really incredible. Let me make sure we are all ready to get rolling here. All right, yes. Just getting that little background out of the way. Elizabeth, we are so excited to get to hear your poems. Take it away.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I selected, I believe, 5 from the collection to read. Let's see how time goes. The first one is titled If I Believed. It was actually published first in Soul Forte Literary Journal. They're a literary journal that focuses on spiritual writing across mediums. So they do poetry, creative nonfiction, nonfiction, and they were really drawn to this piece. It's one that I use to bridge faiths. So, as someone who grew up Muslim, I didn't grow up with like traditions of engaging with ideas of reincarnation. So I decided to explore in poetry, like if I did believe in it, what would I think my past life was like? What would I think my next life would be like? So this one is titled If I Believed. I've never believed in reincarnation, but if I did, I think in my past life, I painted the birth of Venus. It cements my feet to the Uffizi floor like I have just found a photo of myself that I forgot I ever took. When I shower, I daydream about seashells as I breathe an angel's woodwind breath. I've never believed in reincarnation, but if I did, I think in my past life, I was a kitten who died sunning herself, sleeping on a sunspot in the middle of the road. I tend to go wherever offers me warmth, even if I am in danger there. I've never believed in reincarnation, but if I did, I think in my past life, I was my own great great grandmother. Cursed the day my son boarded that ship, and that's why I cannot look at the sea without crying. I've never believed in reincarnation, but if I did, I think in my past life, I was the Nokia ringtone of a bouncy masala song. What is it about its melody that feels like someone is calling to see what time I'll get home? I've never believed in reincarnation, but if I did, I think in my past life, I was the sparkle in a mantika passed down to 20 daughters. I love kissing my children between their eyes. I've never believed in reincarnation, but if I did, I think in my past life I wrote Gitanjali. I constantly find myself dreaming of stringing and unstringing my instrument on a breezy veranda. I've never believed in reincarnation, but if I did, I think in my past life I was a magazine in Malcolm X's rifle. I've never cared to build a bridge with an enemy. I'm nursing many grudges as I write this. I've never believed in reincarnation, but if I did, I think in my past life I was the big hand on Princess Diana's Cartier tank. I spend a lot of energy convincing myself that I still have a lot of time to change things. I've never believed in reincarnation, but if I did, I think in my past life I was a shiesty. Bought on the same street corner as the Penn Station incense man. I feel safest when no one can see me. Poem. The next one is called There Aren't Enough Candles, not previously published anywhere. I don't think I need to give context. I'll just go ahead. There aren't enough candles. In Judaism, they light 2 candles at Shabbat dinner to symbolize the destruction of the 2 temples of Jerusalem. A reminder that physical spaces are but transient monuments. Being together with loved ones is what really matters the most. My heart throbs at the beauty of the symbolism. I tremble to imagine if Muslims did the same for every destroyed masjid, every minaret laying parallel to the sky. To imagine a woman in Jabelia setting her dinner table, her under eyes eroded by the river current of her tears, laying out candle after candle ceaselessly until her fingers withered to ash, until the flames enveloped the tabletop, unending in its stretch to the horizon like a magnificent glimmering fitted sheet. I imagine she would run out of candles before she can ever come close to any equivalence of the destruction she has seen, would find herself with no surviving loved ones around the table to complete the metaphor anyway. Poem. The next two poems I do want to give context for. So I have a series of poems, 5 in total, that I call the Revelation series in my visual poetry exhibit. And it's called the Revelation series because it explores in poem what certain popular surahs or chapters of the Quran might sound like if they were revealed in the boroughs of New York City today and not 7th century Arabia. So one of these poems was actually nominated for the Best of the Net for 2026. I guess I'll read that one first. This one was published in the Braided Way Literary Journal, which is another literary journal for spiritual writing. It's titled, If Allah Revealed Al-Baqarah in Brooklyn. I am the bass crescendo at St. James' Joy, every inch of chlorophyll at the Botanic Garden. Not but a bicycle spoke turns without my knowledge. I bathe you in nectar on the front stoop, and you claim rainfall to be coincidental. I roll up some cash and put it in your mama's bra, and you say you're tired of barely making it. I gather you in a nation of Berber gold and pigeons on the sill, and you say you can't wait to get out of here one day. What can make you see every mercy braided into crystal wind gust from Canarsie to Greenpoint? That salvation be the men in the carts smoking meat to feed lines of people who don't trust their beards in any other context. Salvation be the jingle of her bangles as she tends to house to kids. Salvation be the abuelas who know exactly how to make that baby's gums stop hurting. Salvation be the cab drivers on their thrones of beads. Salvation be the steel train to Queens, come back with provision from any corner of the world. Salvation be the percussion of a dap, the church bells kissing the adhan. Salvation be the oil pools on a hot slice. Salvation be the plastic on their furniture, the mothballs in their closet. Salvation be the feeling of a surprising, cautious calm in the afternoon air that you just can't quite put your finger on because it is me. Poem. And a second poem from the Revelation series. This was not published anywhere previously. It's titled If Allah Revealed Al-Fatiha in Queens. And I guess maybe some background I can give on this. Al-Fatiha is the first surah in the Quran. It's how we open and it's how we start every prayer. It's how we start every section of a prayer, technically. So if you're praying 5 times a day, you're reciting it maybe, if I can do the math properly, 17 times maybe. And this poem explores what it would sound like if it was revealed in Queens today. All praises and thanks be to Allah, the Lord of every last one of these boroughs, even the ones you drive through real fast. The most forgiving, even of the guys on the street corners too late. Even of you when you realize the street corners pay more than a job. Even when you forget his name entirely. Even when you don't recognize yourself. Fortify us against the seductions of vice leaking out of the rum shop windows and the false brotherhoods of the wicked. Tether us only to clean homes that smell like purple, to those ladies peddling mango in Ziploc, to sweet sleep lullabies of the neighbor's speaker box bass, to square concrete yards with rims and missing nets. Poem. How am I on time, you think? It's 8:15.
Elizabeth, yeah, I took an extra moment. If you've got a short one, yeah.
Yeah, let's change it up and we'll do a short one.
Woo-woo!
Yeah. Okay, because we did like a lot of religious stuff. So let's do something fun. As Catherine mentioned, I do a lot of poetry about Caribbean diasporic memory. My family's from Guyana. So this is a poem about the soca singer named Kes. Soca as a musical art form is it's about it started off as about liberation and political commentary. And one of my favorite qualities about it is how it uses so much sexual innuendo. um, so,
Woo!
as a romance writer, I mean, I felt like I had to share a sexy poem. Okay. This poem is titled Directions for Making Love to Kes. Some men have been resistors since they were their fathers. Which old guide brought you here to his bed? Let him sing Azadi up and down your spine, ending at any lips he chooses. Let him squeeze the plump of your breast, every delicious degree of your curves, examining your parts like fruit. Let him calculate just how much of you is flesh and how much is juice. Let him walk his honesty across your legs, talk his adoration in flowery metaphors of tea simmering to a boil, of the steel pan's rigid, echoing pulse. Cradle his head to a lullaby of muffled bass and that straining, almost there tempo you can hear behind the closed door of abashment, until you descend the stairs entirely, push it open, until finally, song, poem.
Woo!
Of course, I was going to give you a spicy poem. I have this could not end without like a romance poem, or at least something spicy. So,
Elizabeth, what incredible poems. Let me just give you some applause.
thank
You can hear the
you.
comments are going wild.
Ah,
We got a lot of folks in Instagram. We got a few in YouTube right now. I know a lot of people will be catching the replay
I can't wait
later.
to read all your comments.
Yes, 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 yes. So you'll have to catch all of that. But those were all so incredible, Elizabeth,
Thank
and
you.
absolutely. And one thing that is so incredibly gorgeous about Anatomy of a Poet is that it is your anatomy. It represents all of those parts, your faith, the many cultures that have formed you, and your personal experiences and relationships, what you've seen also in the news and how you've reacted to it from all of your everything that you're coming from. And I think that was so beautifully represented in your brief, gorgeous reading, Elizabeth.
Thank
Really
you.
incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, I tried to pick ones from, each of the parts that Catherine so wonderfully helped me organize the poems into. And I hope that was representative of what y'all can expect from the collection.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let me dive into these questions over
Yeah,
here,
let's do it.
so our audience can get to know you even better. At what
Sure.
point in your life did you realize poetry was important to you and that you needed to write it?
Um, Definitely. Okay, so I'm not sure about needing, but maybe discovering that it was available to me.
Right.
I actually got into it completely by accident. My parents needed me in an after school program. Um, Anyone who's a parent and also working knows the absolute
Right.
scam of like having to work 9 to 5, but your kid comes out at 3. Like it doesn't, whatever.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I needed to be in an after school program, and it was really like, yeah, whatever one she can be in from then. And I ended up being placed into a spoken word program in 7th
Amazing.
grade. And it filled up the time between dismissal and when I could get picked up. And it really changed my life. It was just a
Amazing.
new way to express myself that I hadn't thought of before. I was on a very steady STEM path growing up.
Yep.
And then it like completely rocked me. And like especially at that age when you're going into adolescence and you have all these feelings to process. And
So many.
even now, like having like just a lot of feelings and not knowing where to put them.
Right.
Even as much as like as recent as yesterday, I've had so many feelings and nowhere to put them, but I found like a poem to place them in. So yeah.
Amazing, 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 Elizabeth. And what a testament to what poets do in educational programs and the
Absolutely.
impact of that. Poets and educators out there,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
doing amazing
I
and
remember them every day. Yeah.
and you are so prolific, Elizabeth.
Thank
Just from what I've observed, just the journal pages, and it just pours from you. And just keep that pen moving, Elizabeth. Amazing things are coming from it.
Thank
Um,
you.
when did you realize with Anatomy of a Poet that you didn't just have a lot of amazing poems, you had a book?
The moment to know you have a book. So it's interesting because I also like I write fiction also, and
Nice.
fiction it's so easy to know because it's like, okay, has this damn plot ended yet? Like, have we concluded? And with poems, you don't really have that resolution. You have to kind of look at a collection and see if you have some kind of narrative arc, and then where is like the natural ending point. So really, I just had all these poems scattered in journals, and I knew I had enough material to compile. I was just
Mm,
never sure if I had cohesion among any of them
mm,
thematically to put them into a collection, if that makes sense.
yes.
So I wouldn't say it was a particular moment of realization, but actually like a really concerted effort to say I have to do something with all of this poetry.
These gotta be
Um,
worlds.
yeah,
Yes.
and it's like I just wade through the pages and group the poems in ways that make sense for a reader who's interfacing with the work. Yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that title really draws it all together because it is tapping into so many parts of you, and we see it through these different lenses in these different sections
yeah.
of the book, which come together to kind of make this beautiful mosaic of who you are and where you come from. It's really incredible. What
Thank you.
images, themes, or obsessions kept resurfacing as you were writing these poems and shaping the collection? I can think of a few.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a romance writer, so like,
Woo!
I'm such a lover girl, and like words of affirmation, that's my love language. And even if I'm not getting them, I feel like I give them to myself when I'm able to write
Yes.
poetry. So a lot of my poetry is just a big affirmation to things that I feel get overlooked. I love looking at things that are seemingly unimportant, or just unpoetic, and giving them little
Right.
words of affirmation.
Right.
Maybe it's like an episode of something in reality TV, or just
Right.
something unremarkable on the sidewalk. I love
Right.
doing that. I love engaging in that practice of like offering words of affirmation to like unlovable things. So that's something that I
I
think
love
reoccurs in my
that.
writing.
Well,
Thank
you're
you.
you're tapping in, you're seeing and you're feeling so much, and
Yeah.
and you're crystallizing it into this gorgeous expression, just full of empathy and beautiful observations, and at times some wonderful humor. And I think that's just absolutely
I'm
so
also a goofball. I'm a lover girl slash goofball. So like, that the collection has to reflect that. But I mean, yeah, I mean that's how we get through this. I mean, not every day is going to be a day that's parallel to a poem that's about this most brilliant sunset over the sea. I mean, some days it's just, a lone plastic bag with like flying into shit on the street. And there's still beauty in that, right? There's still beauty in like the breeze taking things to where they belong, and yeah, and the eyes that can
absolutely.
witness it. So
Absolutely. I remember in some of your messages to me in our process, you had said that like I want to communicate that a poem can be about anything, and I think
yeah.
the heart of that is that what you that you're so attentive to the world around you, you're so tapped in, and you want to, and you're able to share that so beautifully. You're able to make associations that are so meaningful to you, and create such a beautiful, powerful, like emotional landscape that people can also walk with you along that. So it's like an affirmation for you, but it's such an inspiring and powerful read and experience for the audience as well. It's just delightful.
Thank you.
Um,
I appreciate that. And that's definitely what I want readers to kind of walk away from with. Anyone you can write a poem about anything. If it's dancing across your mind, it's there for a reason. Explore it poetically.
Explore it poetically. Yes. If something has touched, it has become meaningful to you, it has touched you in some way, like dig into that.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Many of your poems have distinctive and meaningful visual shapes, which they
Hmm.
will see in the book.
Yeah.
And which they can see on Instagram and in these incredible, works of art and installations. How did those emerge in your writing process, and what has it been like to see these poems evolve into visual artwork and installations? So how did you start to create poems in these big, beautiful shapes that have become art?
I think completely by accident. I hate that that's my answer for all these things, like actions by accident. But really, so I actually practice in commercial real estate law. That's the most boring part of this interview, guys. And but I promise it's going to get a lot more interesting. But anyway, I'm kidding. I really enjoy what I do.
Of course.
I spend a lot of my day looking at site plans and blueprints and street plans.
Okay.
So my brain at one point wanted to write a poem within that framework because I was
Ooh.
in a place in my life where I was working all the time.
Mm.
And when poetry was, emerging naturally, I didn't really know how to place it other than to merge the two worlds, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely.
I think the first visual poem I wrote was actually a floor plan. It's housed in a floor plan of my late grandmother's house.
Wow.
So yeah, it was like each verse was like the different rooms, like the room that I would stay in, the room that my great grandmother stayed in and died in. Actually, she went to hospice after that, but her kitchen where the kitchen where my grandmother worked, the dining room where we used to host family. So I got to, and that was so much fun to do. It was, just to kind of fill in the
Right.
space.
Yeah.
And it was just so nice to engage with poetry in a way. So it's always like the rhythm, the tempo, the text, right?
Right.
And then you come to visual poetry, and now there's like this element of space that
Yes.
you engage with. And that's been the most fun to observe in the art shows and just seeing people interact with poetry in a way that requires just kind of their physical engagement with it, and to look
Right.
up at the way the poems are formed, because it's not all, of course, not all in like site plans and house plans and things like that. Calligrams, which for anyone who doesn't know, that is a form of poetry where the text takes the shape of kind of the subject or one of the subjects of the poem. So I have a lot of those too. And yeah, it's just one of my favorite things about this craft. It's playful and it's open to change. So yeah.
Absolutely. And like you said, the reader gets to experience that
Yeah,
in a way similar to looking at art, where they get to kind of approach it. They can kind of decide where their eye is starting, and then they get to see the other parts of
exactly.
the visual and the text. It's
Exactly.
so gorgeous, and it's so wonderful that we have so many of these in Anatomy of a Poet. I can't wait for people to experience them.
Yes.
If you don't mind me mentioning, one is kind of like the shape of a tilted masjid, um,
Yes. Anatomy of
and
the Mustard. Yeah.
yes, and a movie ticket,
Yes.
and oh goodness,
Yeah, I have
Avenue, the Avenue.
the street view of Liberty Avenue,
Yes,
which is like the cultural nerve center in New York for my community.
so good.
What I love about that poem, so that's one of the poems that I'll have on like a 60 by 50
Woo!
at my poetry exhibits, at the visual poetry exhibits. And what I love about that poem is, so it's a street view of Liberty Avenue, and the poetry runs along the avenue all around. So I always tell people, it's just walk the avenue. You can start
Walk the
anywhere you want.
Avenue.
Yeah, like you can start anywhere you want and end wherever you want. And it's like it's your experience to to interact with that
I
space.
love it.
And it's also cultural preservation too. I mean, in 10
Right,
years, the avenue is not going to look like that, but
right.
you can like walk the avenue with my poetry if you wanted
I
to.
love
Yeah.
it. I love it so much. Here is a last question for you,
Oh, sure.
Elizabeth. what are you most excited for readers to experience when the book finally arrives in January 2027?
Yeah, I think maybe I touched on this before, but I'll say like I'm just really excited for people to explore how poetry can occupy spaces it doesn't traditionally occupy.
Love it.
I think a lot of like the most interesting feedback I've gotten has been surrounding the poems I've written about pop culture, reacting to reacting to even seemingly silly things that are, like haikus about Love Island. I don't even watch Love Island, but I caught one episode and I wrote like 5
I
haikus
can
about
see,
it.
I
Like,
can see you doing that
there's
though.
so much poetry going on in there. I can't take it. But I'm just really proud of the way the collection is just responsive to the pulse of what people care about, and not only I don't mean to like minimize and say it's just like popular culture and like love and whatever and faith, but also just like current events and what's happening in the
Right.
world and how we metabolize the things that are happening in the world. So
Right. And it's such a representation of you kind of boldly speaking to all of that with humor, with romance, with incredible imagery, with faith, with really deeply personal moments as well. And I think it's both so personal and so universal in that way. I think people are going to just absolutely love it and can't wait for January 2027 when it
yes.
comes out. Yes, yes, of course, inshallah.
You're down. You're down, Kathy.
I got it. I got it. But thank you so much, Elizabeth
Thank you.
Shanaz, for joining us this evening. One more round of
Thank
applause for Elizabeth, everybody
you.
out there.
Thank you so much for having me. And I can't wait to share this work with you all in January.
Absolutely. And we are going to have more special posts to come. There will be more news to come soon from Elizabeth, from our other incredible Winter 2027 poets, posts, readings, events to come. And then, of course, we will be letting you know when all those books, when these incredible books go on sale. And if you have a chance to come down to the New York City Poetry Festival, we're hoping to get to meet a lot of people in person there. So if you're able to come down on Saturday, July 18th to Governor's Island, stop on by the Northeast Coast reading, and hopefully we'll get to all meet a lot of the press poets together. But it's been an amazing evening. Thank you again, Elizabeth, and thank you all so much for joining us. We will see you next time and see you on social media. Good night, everybody.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.